Life as a Kid, an interview with Ruby Newman. Chauncey Public Library, Athens County, Ohio, 2003.
And you are?
Ruby Newman.
And are you a native of Chauncey?
I'm a native of Chauncey, yes.
And you grew up here, went to school here as well?
I didn't come here until I was in high school. I really grew up in Morgan County.
Mm-hmm. So tell me what it was like to move to Chauncey, what maybe some of the differences were, or what your first experiences in Chauncey were.
Well, I guess at the age when I moved to Chauncey, about everyone had their own friends. But Chauncey was very, they accepted me, and my mother often spoke of that too, because she came here as a school teacher, and how Chauncey accepted us as being, we were outsiders coming in, and most of them had their own friends picked by that time. So I was very fortunate.
And you made friends in high school? Tell me a little bit about the high school experience that you had.
In high school here?
Yes.
Oh, it was very nice. It was small classrooms, so it was like they were part of your family instead of the bigger schools now where you don't know someone that's sitting beside of you. It's nice to have smaller classrooms, I think, where you know each one individually.
How many people were in your graduating class?
I think there was 27.
And what year was that?
1946.
So tell me some of your memories from high school that stand out. Maybe a dance or friends that you made?
Well, I have friends that I made that I still have, that we have our alumni each June, and I have friends that come and stay with me overnight that we've always been friends. So I think in a small group like that, you are more apt to keep your friends for a long time, lifetime.
And a lot of your classmates and friends stayed around the area?
No, not very many of them have stayed in this area. I'm probably one of the few that's left.
So in the 40s, how did you get to and from school? What were your sort of everyday routines?
Well, we lived in town and we walked, but we didn't have any lunch facilities. We had to walk home for our lunch, and the ones that lived outside of town rode the bus and they brought their lunch. But those that lived here in town, we walked home for our lunch.
And the school, how big was it compared to how it is now? Is it the same facility, or do you know if it's moved?
Well, of course, we had to consolidate in with Athens, and so the school's on the plains. We lost our school here, except for the first 6 grades.
Mm-hmm. Is the building still around?
Yes, yes.
Is it used for anything else?
It's in private use, I think,
Mm-hmm.
now.
So when you lived in Morgantown, when you were younger than high school?
In Morgan County, yes.
That was, sorry,
that's right. Uh-huh.
What were the sorts of activities that you enjoyed the most when you were, say, an elementary school student? Games that you played, things like that?
Oh, I guess maybe I still remember sleigh riding on the schoolhouse hill in McCollumsville, which they have consolidated, and there's no longer a school there either. But I remember of sleigh riding on the schoolhouse hill, and well, we didn't have a lot of entertainment. I remember our paper dolls was catalogs. We cut up catalogs. Whoever got the nicest catalogs got the nicest paper dolls. And we cut them out and put them in shoe boxes and played with paper dolls.
And did you have any special places that you used to like to go when you were little? Your spot that was your own, or just yours and your friends?
Well, up until I started to school in the first grade, I probably didn't have many, just when I would go visit our cousins, but we lived in the country and there was no farmhouse you could see any place, so I mostly just played with the animals on the farm and
what were the animals on the farm that you had?
Oh, I can remember having horses and sheep, and I guess there must have been a cow. There was cats.
Were they like pets, or were they more working animals?
I think that some of them was pets, as I remember. Yes.
And some of the chores that you had around the house when you were young?
I don't remember having so many chores. I was the only child till I was about 11 years old. And
I would think that would mean that you would have quite a bit of chores rather than the other way around.
I mostly just hung out, I think, in the house with my mother in the kitchen and things.
What were the sorts of things that you did there? Did you help her bake and cook?
Yes, I remember that.
What were some of the things that you used to bake and cook at the time?
I suppose we baked cookies and things. I
Anything
think I helped.
special?
Mother always said I had to stand, I done dishes when I had to stand on a chair because I wanted to be in the kitchen where she was at. So I'd stand on a chair and do the dishes.
What was your favorite meal when you were a kid?
Favorite
Your mom's
meal?
kitchen, yeah.
Oh, I just don't remember that, I guess.
When you were in town, when you weren't on the farm, what were the sorts of things that you did, the places that you went?
Well, we would go to family gatherings, was mostly the thing you done back then. You didn't have other activities too much as there was no television, and there was a movie theater in McConnellsville, yes. We went, sometimes you go to the movies on once a week. Or
What was that like?
oh, that was nice. I still remember Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I thought that was the greatest movie.
Do you remember any of the special sort of movie treats that you guys had?
Any what?
Of the movie candy or the sort of treats that you had
Oh.
when you would go?
Well, I remember of eating a Mr. Goodbar when I went to a movie one time, and then I got one of a kid's disease. I don't know, it was the measles or something, and I never could eat a Mr. Goodbar for a long time afterwards because it seemed like I associated that with that disease or something, and it turned.
When you were young and you would go into town, let's say, to go to a movie, was it a dress-up kind of affair, or was it, what sorts of home clothes or church clothes or school clothes or movie-going clothes?
I think that I just wore what I would wear to school, but I can remember my grandmother going and her sister, which was a twin, and they wore hats. They wore hats to go to the movies. Of course, they would never go one on Sunday night, but they'd have a certain hat they wore to the movies on Saturday night if they went.
Did you have a favorite outfit when you were little?
I think I remember a dress my mother made me one time, and I still remember what that was. I had a dress that mother had made me. And I think she made my coats for me until maybe after I started to school. I think she made my coats.
What was your favorite dress like that your mom made you? What did it look like?
Oh, it was a princess-style dress, a button down the front.
And can you remember any of your favorite toys that you played with when you were little?
Well, I remember on Christmas when I was small, of course everybody was the same. Nobody had much of anything back then. And my father was pretty good as a carpenter. So I can remember he made me a table and chairs, and he made me a cupboard, and he made a doll bed, and the back of it had been made out of like an old piano organ, had the fancy work, the doll bed. So I had doll bed, and I think they must have bought me dishes to play with. And then, as I told someone, I had a rocking chair that was my mother's, and her grandfather had made it for her, and I still have that rocker. So most of the things that we had then was made. You know, they make our doll clothes or And our Christmas tree one year, I remember my father going out. We had a pine tree in the yard, and he cut off one of the pine limbs and brought it in. We fixed that. Mother fixed it up, and it was our Christmas tree.